through fine. I'm Bob the Canadian. Welcome to this Saturday night English listening and conversation practice lesson. Hopefully everyone is getting a clear signal. Hopefully everything is working well. I'm out here on the farm today, and I thought it would just be fun to do another live listening lesson. So the way this works, of course, is if you have a question, I would love it if you could use the form that's going to appear in the chat in a moment, because I have my friend Todd here, and Todd the Canadian is actually going to moderate the chat. He's just going to take care of things in the chat in case people get a little bit crazy, because I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes in the chat people get a little bit crazy. So Todd, if you could post the link in the chat, that would be great. And the link that Todd's going to post will take you to a Google form, and you can ask your questions there. So hello to everyone. Again, I can't say hello to all of you, but hello to everyone. There's the link. It just appeared in the chat. So many of you coming to watch. I was excited yesterday because the live lesson yesterday morning, there was over 500 people. That was a lot of people. I hope everyone enjoyed that lesson. We looked at things that you can do outdoors. And if you're watching this on replay, I'll put a link up there for you. But anyways, welcome everyone to this. I'm gonna take the first question. It's a great question. Again, if you have questions, there will be a form. And what I do is I then copy and paste your question back into the chat. So Lillian's question is, who's Todd? So Todd is a friend of mine that's going to help out from now on when I do live lessons. So Todd's going to moderate the chat. That means that he's going to just make sure everyone is saying kind and friendly things in the chat. We haven't had problems in the chat, but I just want to make sure that just in case we do have problems, there's someone to take care of it. So that was the first question. And if you want to ask a question from time to time, Todd will post a link. Next question is from Lolly. Lolly says, hi Bob, how do we use shade and shadow? So when you sit under a tree, you are sitting in the shade, okay? When you walk along in the sunlight, on the ground, you will see your shadow. So just think of it, you sit in the shade. You sit in the shade of a tree, or you sit in the shade of a building. But whenever you look on the ground and you see the sun has hit you, and then you see the darker form of yourself on the ground, we call that your shadow. So just always think about shade under a tree. Shadow is, you know, the fun copy of yourself. You know, you can do shadow puppets. Did you know that? Where you do things like this and then your shadow looks like a bird and things like that. So cool question, Lolly. Thank you very much. Next question is from Lolly as well. Lolly says, how do you use negotiate, haggle, and deal? Can they be used interchangeably? So I can negotiate a deal with someone. That means they say they want $10. I say I'll give you $9, and we agree on a price. We negotiate. It's also called haggling. So I can haggle with someone. And then deal works a little differently because you make a deal. When you come to an agreement, you make a deal with someone. So you have to have the word make there. Great question, Lolly. Again, hello to everyone in the chat. Lots of people coming in here. If you are new here, this is a live listening and conversation practice session. I just kind of try and talk to you for about an hour. If you have questions, please use the link in the chat, and I will try to get to all the questions, although I don't think I'm going to be able to answer all of them tonight because it's filling up pretty quickly. But let's go to the next one. It's from Anjnier. Says, hi Bob, good morning. I wanted to ask if you have ever heard of people speaking their Indigenous language in Canada. Are they spoken and used commonly? So they're not used commonly throughout Canada in everyday speech outside of Indigenous communities. And we have a huge number of Indigenous communities in Canada, and we have great respect for our Indigenous people. I think that in the past we have not, but we are currently in an era where we're trying to make sure that we are caring for all people in Canada, including our Indigenous people. And if you're not sure what I mean, Indigenous people are the people who were in Canada before people started to immigrate from other parts of the world, before people started to come to Canada and settle it historically. So the history of Canada, we have not been extremely fair to our Indigenous people, and we have now taken the time to make sure that we apologize, and we are trying to make amends. So that's a great question. I have not regularly heard people speaking their Indigenous languages, though, although when our library opened in the local town, we did have someone come and offer a blessing in their Indigenous language. It was very cool. Let's see here. Wilson says, how can I improve my English level from A2 to B1 on my own? So this, Wilson, this is a level that you can do on your own. You can get from A2 to B1 on your own, and you can even get to B2 on your own a little bit, but you'll need to talk to a native speaker occasionally. But I would do the big five. I think people get tired of me saying this, but you need to read, write, listen, speak every day, and expand your vocabulary, and you should be able to do that. So work on that, Wilson. Let's see. Nathan has a question here. What is it there? I'm not sure what this question means. It is summer here. It is 20 after 7 at night here. It is a beautiful day here. That's what it is here, Nathan. Hopefully that answered your question. Here's a question from Louis, and this question comes up a lot. How can I practice my speaking skill if I do not have anyone around me who speaks English? So number one, you've probably tried to find someone who speaks English. You have to try harder. And if you can't, the things you can do are record your voice and then listen to yourself back again. You can watch English television shows and you can pause and repeat what people are saying in them. And you can have pretend conversations with yourself. But really at a certain point, you do need to find a native speaker. There's only so much, Louis, that you can do on your own. Next one is from Amar. Says, hello, Bob. I saw your video 3 months ago, and it's the first time that I'm seeing your live stream. I'm very happy. Well, Amar, welcome to the live stream. It's awesome that you were able to make it. I'm trying to make sure I speak in a normal voice because I'm quite excited too. It's really fun for me to sit on a Saturday night. If you remember last week, I wasn't able to do a live stream. I was out of town, so it's fun to be back and doing a live stream again. So welcome, Amar. I'm glad that you could come. Louis Sanchez has a question, and it says, hi Bob, please teach us how to use the word rather. I read it a lot, but I think there are different uses of that word. So the one use that I will give you is when you're doing one thing and there's something else that's more enjoyable for you, you would rather be doing that. So let's say the two options for me tonight would be to work really hard in the field or do a live stream lesson. I would rather do a lesson. Okay, so it means that this is how much I enjoy working in the field and this is how much I enjoy doing a lesson. So I prefer to do a lesson. I'd rather do a lesson. And we'll leave it there because you're right, it is a bit of a tricky word, but I don't want to get too far off course with things. Next question. By the way, hello again to everybody. Welcome to this live lesson. If you're watching the replay, you're welcome as well. Some people watch this the next day because there will be subtitles tomorrow. So if there are a few words that you find difficult to understand, if you come back tomorrow, you can watch it. But welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I think I forgot my question here. There's a few people in the chat saying nice things about me. Thank you very much. I'll post it again. Leo Benavides, I hope I said that right, Leo. What is the difference between song and music? So music doesn't need to have words or lyrics. So you can say that Justin Bieber has great music. Let me see, how do I say this? A song definitely has words because you sing a song. And music is more just instrumental. I think they overlap a bit. I do, but generally let's say this, a song is a piece of music that has words, because you can sing a song, and music would be the whole genre of things. I think that works. Although, can you write a song without words? I think you can. Yeah, I'm doing a bad job of explaining this one, sorry. But generally, you sing a song and you listen to music. So a little tricky there. You know, you might want to look this one up. Sometimes people look it up for me during the live stream. Yeah, that was a really bad explanation from me. Sorry about that. You know that there's no guarantee that my explanations will be really good. Let's see here. I got to just tidy up my questions here and get to the next one. Wellington says, hi Wellington. Brazil is not a question. Oh, Wellington from Brazil says, this is not a question, it is a compliment. Bob, I remember when we were less than 50 viewers, you are doing a great job because of the number are increasing a lot. Yeah, we used to, on a Saturday night live stream, I used to just take questions straight from the chat because there was only 40 or 50 of us. It was really quite fun. This is still fun. But yes, you are right. There's definitely a lot more people and we are definitely growing as a channel. I say we, but I mean, I guess me. So, okay, next question. Sometimes Maribit, so Maribrit says, sometimes I'm confused about how to use these words correctly in a sentence, not and no. So, how would you use not in a sentence? So, there's not a lot of water in this cup. There's no water in this cup. We do make it confusing, don't we? There's not a lot of people in the live stream. That's not true. There's almost 400. There are not. So not really has to do with quantity, I think. But if you're not able to do something, it's the negative, isn't it? So I'll give you a couple of example sentences. In this live stream, you're not allowed to use bad words in the chat. And if you use bad words in the chat, we might ask you not to use those bad words. So there's a couple of examples of not. An example of no is just outright that you're not allowed to do. If someone doesn't want you to do something, they say, no, don't do that. But you could also use it with quantity, right? Because you could say there are no bad words allowed in the chat. So just maybe listen to those again. You're not allowed to use bad words in the chat, and there's no bad words allowed in the chat. It's just a slight difference. Great question, by the way. Let's see here. Kevin says, do you know, even for me as an English speaker, it's sometimes hard to explain, right? Because you just know how to say it and you don't know why you say it a certain way. But anyways, Kevin says, what is correct to say James's house or James's house, regards from Peru? So James is a name that ends in S. So you would say James's house. That is the correct way to do it. So you put the apostrophe after the S with plurals. It's a little bit weird, but that's how it goes. Let's see here. Let me just clean up my chat a little bit. Next question is, this is from Guillermo Guzman says, what do you do for a living? What's your job? So I have two jobs. I teach high school. I am a high school French, computer, business, and English teacher. I know that's a lot, but I also have a farm. And if you looked in my community tab this week, you would have seen a picture of me cutting hay. Let's see here. No one's gonna see him. He doesn't ever reply back to me. Yeah, you know, people in the chat always saying fun stuff. Let's see here. Next question. Zappa says, how cold is it in the wintertime in Ontario? So it can be as cold as -10 or -20 Celsius. It can get quite cold here. But usually in the winter, it's about, like January, it's about -4, maybe -10, somewhere in between there. It really depends. Sometimes it can get quite cold in the winter. Let's see here. Lou Jane says, why can't I speak fluently like a native and I can understand everything you are saying? So speaking and listening are somewhat connected, but not totally. So people can become really good at listening to a foreign language or a different language. They can become really good at listening to English because that's something that's easy to practice. You listen to a lot of music, you watch a lot of television, you watch a lot of film. But speaking is not something that's easy to do. You have to find someone to speak to. You need to find someone to have a conversation with. So that can be something that develops more slowly. So that's the reason I always recommend reading, writing, listening, speaking. Reading every day, writing every day, listening every day, speaking every day. So because each of those has to develop its own strength. So there you go. Let's see here. Oh, Nathan. Nathan says, sorry, my corrector or autocorrect ate the word. So Nathan was the one who said, what is it there? But he wanted to know what time is it there. So Nathan, it is 7:30 p.m. here right now. It's still light out because it's summer in Canada. It stays light out quite late. So that's, let's see here. Luis Guillermo says, how can I improve my English level from B2 to C1 on my own? Now that is hard to do. That is not something that you are necessarily going to be able to do by yourself. People have done it, but when you move from B2 to C1, by the way, everyone, this is the CEFR ranking system for testing languages. To go from B2 to C1, they recommend that you live somewhere where people speak the language you are learning, or you do a lot of work via Skype or FaceTime. So, Luis, that might be a little bit of a challenge. Lot of questions, people. I know I maybe am not getting to yours. Don't submit the question twice because we do see it. That's great. Eddie from Brazil says, so I got to see you. Thanks for the class. No problem, Eddie. Thanks for watching. So Abdullah from Pakistan says, sir, please suggest a good movie for English learning. So that's a challenge, Abdullah, because I don't know your current level. So I often recommend to people who are just starting out to watch kids movies, even though maybe it doesn't seem like you're learning a lot. Generally in a kids movie, you can learn a lot easier. So any Disney movie from the Disney Corporation. But if your level is good enough to understand some English, I recommend you just watch current blockbusters, current popular movies. Watch the X-Men movies, watch the Avengers movies, watch the movies that win Oscar awards. That would be good. Let's see here. I'm just going to check something. Okay, we're going to go to the next question. Hope that helped you, Abdullah. Next question is, apparently I didn't paste it. Kevin de la Cruz says, what is correct? James, I think we answered that one already. So it's James with an S and then the apostrophe. Let me get rid of some stuff. Ali has a question here. Hi, Bob. Lately, I feel like I am bored about studying English. So lately I feel like I am bored studying English. What do I have to do now so that I can get over this idea? So Ali is saying they're bored. Here's what I would do. If your English level is high enough to understand other YouTubers, I would follow someone who has a daily vlog. There are some really cool YouTubers like Maddie, I'm trying to remember how to spell his name. I think that might be wrong. But find a daily vlogger, someone who is posting daily, and see if that interests you. It's something new that you could do, something that you can listen to. But that would be my suggestion to you, Ali. Danielle Moreira says, hi, Bob, did you have a barbecue today? I think that you should give us have a barbecue on the farm for us. Just kidding. So we did not have a barbecue today. You know what's funny? My barbecue is broken and we need to either fix the barbecue or buy a new one. And my son Nathan really wants us to get a new barbecue. So we might do that later this summer. Eric, I see, Eric, that you're posting in the chat. And try to post your questions in the forum. Try to do things in order here. I do appreciate you, though, asking questions, though. Marta has a question. Here we go from Marta. Marta, hi Bob. I hope that you are doing well. How do I use the to and from? I'm confused about it. Thank you so much for or to you come. Thank you so much for being back tonight. So how do you use for and to? That's an interesting one because it's tricky for me to think about it in English. When I get up at the end of the live stream, I go to the house. If I ran out of water, I would go to the house for another cup of water. Also, you can say things like, I give a present to my brother, but you say, I bought a present for my brother. That's probably a better example of how you're looking at it. So I bought a present for my brother. I gave the present to my brother. So when I bought it, my brother's not there. So I'm buying the present, the gift for my brother. But the next time I see my brother, I would give it to him. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit with that one. Folks, we are really full on questions, so you'll have to be patient. I'm just gonna ask Todd. Todd, you can just, maybe don't post the link for a bit. People can find their way to the link somehow. Let's see here, Luis Guillermo, guys, a question here, awesome. Luis Guillermo says, are there differences between American English and Canadian English? So there are small pronunciation differences. I say the word about differently, but there is no problem for Americans and Canadians to talk to each other. Zero problems. In fact, my brother-in-law is American, my sister-in-law is American, and last weekend we saw them, and my nephews and nieces are American, and I can understand all of them, and they can understand me. There's no problem at all. So if you're worried about learning Canadian English, don't worry, it's very useful. Sylvester says, could you tell us about the word nurse? So a nurse is someone who works at a hospital. It can be a man or a woman, and they are usually the first person you see when you go to a hospital. You would see a nurse before you see a doctor. A nurse takes your blood pressure. A nurse takes blood for blood testing, takes your temperature with a thermometer. They might listen to your heart. So they look at some initial things when you go to the doctor, and then after the nurse sees you, then you see a doctor. So let's see. Freddie says, hello Freddie, could you do a job interview? So many people have asked me to do a video about how to prepare for a job interview in English. I think that's what Freddie is asking about. And it's on the list of videos to make. Later this summer, I will do a video about how to how to prepare for and go for an interview for a job in English. Murad says, this is a question I don't know the answer to. What is uptalk? I have not used the word uptalk before. So I don't know, Murad, what that is. Let's see. Mayor Britt says, my apologies, I sent you a question without a greeting. I'm so sorry, and thank you for everything. I'm from the Dominican Republic. Well, thank you very much. I like it when people say kind things to me and to others. Let's see here. Nixon says, hello, could you tell me, please, what is the difference between yell, shout, and scream? If you listen, I don't know if you can hear it, but my neighbor's kids are swimming right now. They're about a mile that way, about a kilometer that way. But they are screaming because they're running around the pool. So they're screaming, they're yelling, and they're shouting. So usually when you shout words like, hey, what are you doing over there? That was a bad shout, but when you shout, you're using words. When you yell, you might be using words as well. But when you scream, it's usually just like, ah! You don't really use too many words. I hope that was a good explanation for you, Nexon. Let me clear some things here. Sean Yu has a question. Again, I'm sorry. There is just a flood of questions. I'll get to each of them. Hopefully, I might not get to all of them, but we'll see. Sean Yu says, Bob, first of all, thank you for your teaching. I love your videos. No problem. I am a Chinese person. I'm looking for a software engineer Could you please give me some advice for learning English? I think the best thing to do is watch, right now I think the best thing to do is watch a lot of YouTube videos, do a lot of reading, watch a lot of American or Canadian television, and do some writing. Even if you can't find someone to speak to at first, at least start doing those 3 things and build that vocabulary. Challenge yourself to learn 20 words a day, 50 words a day. That would be the best. Tariq is here. Let's see here. Tariq says, hey Bob, I am a Brazilian living in Ireland. That's cool. It's really a pleasure to watch all your videos. Any advice to help me increase and keep my vocabulary? Is repetition a good one? So because you're in an English-speaking country, Tariq, you have probably the best scenario. And here's the advice I would give you. You need to go out and use every word that you learn every day. So if you learn a new word, you have to figure out a way to go out and use that word in a sentence at the market, at a store, somewhere, because you can just go out and speak to English-speaking people. That's what I would do. Just learn 10 words and then go out and use them somewhere in a sentence with a real English speaker. That will help you remember it for sure. Let's see here. Surya says, Bob, if I don't have any native speakers to speak with, but here I have a non-native speaker friends and we do talk every day, is that helping improve my English? Yes. As long as you are correcting each other once in a while, and as long as you are all pushing to get to a higher level. Okay, if you just get together and use the same words every day, that's not going to help. But if you all go home and learn 5 new words and then you come back and try to use them, that is a good way to do it. And certainly use YouTube or use dictionary.com to learn the pronunciation. That would be great. That's for UREDS 2010. I just saw that in the chat. If you're wondering what that was, that was a dab. Here's Charles. Charles says, what is the difference between like and as? So we use these words a whole bunch of different ways, but I could say that I run like a deer. I don't actually run like a deer, but if I was to compare myself, I could say, you know, when I run like a deer. So I'm similar to a deer. But if I was to say I run the same as a deer, that's how I would use the word as to compare. Now, this is far bigger than this. That's just 2 example sentences. I run like a deer, or when I run, it's, I forget exactly what the second sentence I gave was. I run as fast as a deer. So it's just a slight nuance. It's hard to explain in a live lesson, but there's a couple example sentences for you. Mehdi says, hello Bob, thank you for teaching us. No problem. I really appreciate you, and my question is, I don't know how to remember 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. I always make the mistake. So the easiest way to remember this is, so if you go 12 a.m. or p.m. in Google, it's going to tell you that 12 a.m. is actually when you celebrate New Year's. So it's the middle of the night, okay? So just picture if you stay up so late that it's past midnight, then it's really, really early morning. So that's 12 a.m. And then just remember that when you have lunch, when you sit down to have lunch, that's p.m. Just try to put it in your mind. What I wish is that the whole world used a 24-hour clock, because that would make it a whole lot easier, wouldn't it? I actually use 24-hour time. It's 1943 on my watch right now. That makes it a lot easier. When I lived in the province of Quebec, that's how they tell time. Let's see here. Janeth Rivera says, how do you correctly say walk by a helicopter? Thanks a lot, Bob. Greetings from Colombia. So if there was a helicopter, I would walk by the helicopter. I'm not sure if it's walk by or the word helicopter that you're trying to learn to pronounce, but that's what you would use. Omar says, hello, Bob. You're an awesome teacher. what is your favorite movie? So I like all of the Avengers movies. In fact, I just saw the latest Avengers movie a week ago, Endgame, Avengers Endgame. It was super cool. I really liked it. And I also like any science fiction movie. I just love science fiction. So Star Wars, Star Trek, I've watched all of them. Okay, let's see what we got here. Next question is from Marcelo. Marcelo says, "Hi Bob, I'm from Brazil, Favela Parisipolis." Sorry for messing that up. "I'm studying English alone. I'm learning to read and listen, but what should I do when I don't have many resources?" So hopefully you can access the internet, so you can read the news online. There's also books online that are not copyrighted that you can read. So just search for non-copyrighted books. And try to see if your local library has an English section. Libraries are still really cool. If you can go to your local library and say, "Do you have English books?" And hopefully they do. And then in your city, see if there is an English learning club. Often an English learning club will be free to join, and they'll have free resources for you. So check that out. I think it's starting to rain a little bit, by the way. Just a tiny little bit. I hope it doesn't keep going. Sitting out here with my laptop. Norelli says, "Hi Bob, what does ish mean when you put it at the end of a time?" So if I say, "Hey, I'll meet you tomorrow at 11-ish," it means maybe before 11, maybe a little bit after 11. Whenever we add ish, it spreads out the preciseness of the time. So tomorrow morning I might get up around 8-ish. So it means I might get up at 7:45. I might get up at 8:15. So ish always makes it non-specific. There you go. Let's see. Let's see here. Genre. Hi, Genre. I still remember Genre from a couple weeks ago because he gave me a super chat. So I remember things like that. What is the difference between there is no and there is not? So there is no sugar in the house. There is not a lot of sugar in the house. So there is a slight difference in the phrasing there. There is no swimming allowed in the pool. There is, as soon as you use not, it becomes quantity. So there is no sugar in the house. There is not a lot of sugar in the house. That's one example, but you should look that one up. There's going to be a better write-up somewhere to explain those two genre. Here's a good one. Luis Guillermo says, "Sometimes I get confused when I'm trying to use make or do, and do you have an answer for this question?" So in English, we decided, so in French, you have the verb faire, which means make or do. And in most languages, you don't have separate words for make and do. So the best way to remember it, and this isn't perfect, is when you make something, it means you're putting it together. Like if I make a cake, I'm taking the ingredients and putting them in a bowl. But when I do the dishes, it's an activity. I'm not taking parts and putting them together and having something new at the end. So, 7-Eleven just gave me a super chat. Thank you, 7-Eleven. You're awesome. You don't need to give me super chats though, people. Just a sec here. Not sure if this rain's gonna continue. I'll just close my laptop a little bit. And well, you guys can't see this, but it is raining a little bit. Let's see here. Let me get the next question while we wait for the rain to stop. Todd, could you have someone bring me an umbrella? I'm not sure if you guys know that it's raining, but I'm just asking Todd the Canadian. Maybe he can message someone at my house to send me an umbrella. That would be great. Renata has a question here. Let's get down here. Renata, did you ask YouTube to send you the silver play button? So this week I went over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is incredible. Thank you to all of you for subscribing. But when you do that, you get a silver play button, you get a plaque, but they haven't let me know yet. I think it takes a month or two before you get that. So anyways, someday, Renata, that will come. Let's see here. Next one. Igor Lima says, hi Bob, I was reading a book and there was a phrase like, she tried to get her bearings. Is that a popular saying? Yes. When you don't know which direction to go, you try to get your bearings. Like, is that north or is that north? So when you get your bearings, it means that you try to figure out what direction to go. So Todd, the Canadian, oh, here, good. I have an umbrella coming. It's very nice. It's nice to have an assistant who helps you. So let me get the next one. Thank you. Apparently, it started raining out here. So we're just gonna hold this umbrella here for a little bit. I don't think it's gonna last long because can you see the shadow on my face? We had a question earlier about shadow. The sun is shining, but it's also raining right now. It's kind of weird. So anyways, next question. Hussein Salufi says, hi Bob, you are a beautiful person. I like your lessons. My question is, do you do your videos for money or are you helping to help people speak English? So I have to be honest, I do get a little bit of money when you watch a video, there's ads, okay? So I'll be honest, I do make a little bit of money doing this YouTube channel, but I don't do this to make money, okay? I don't do this primarily. I still have a job. We're still working on the farm. My wife and I are still actively growing flowers. If you're wondering what this is my umbrella. I'm sitting out here with an umbrella. And I'm just wondering, could you bring me another umbrella? Could you bring me another umbrella? I'm just getting another umbrella. I don't think this rain's gonna last, so sorry. It's the first live stream where it started raining in the middle of it. I think that's what happens when you do a live stream out loud. So this is hard to do with one hand now. Let's see if I can manage this. I'm a computer person. I should be able to do this with one hand. Lolly says, on, onto, and into, what's the difference? So I'm gonna put this cup on the table. I'm gonna put this cup onto the table. When I made my tea, I put the tea into the cup. So on and onto can be used interchangeably sometimes. But when you put stuff into something, you put it like inside. You can also use in. I put tea into the cup, I put tea in the cup. So I'm just talking to Jen, the Canadian, right now. Is this rain gonna keep going? Oh, okay. So I have the table set. I don't know. Like, don't you feel like it's gonna stop soon? So Jen and I are having a conversation about whether the rain will continue and whether I should move.
I don't think it's going to be any bigger than this.
Yeah, this isn't too bad. This is pretty nice. Sorry, folks, we're not getting through a lot of questions very quickly here because we're having a rain delay during the live stream. This is the first time that this has happened. I'm just going to keep going. Nothing's getting wet. It just makes it a little difficult to copy and paste my questions. So unless you want to send me an umbrella assistant who can hold an umbrella for me. Okay, I don't know how to move. So you're saying, oh, that would be great. Okay, we're gonna move quick here. Sure, let's do that. Let me figure out how to put this down. And we're gonna move to a spot where I won't get wet. So you guys get to go for a little ride here. We're just gonna walk over to the barn so that I can sit underneath and you guys will be able to have a bit of a different view. Just gonna spin for a sec here and I think I'll sit down right here and we'll adjust. It's not perfect lighting, but at least you can see a bit. So I'm just waiting for my assistant. Jen, the Canadian, is giving me a table here. This is like real English, people. This is like this is not me talking slow. This is me realizing it's raining. And I think the last thing would be, would you mind getting me a small light? Just to.
What do you normally use?
I think I used the one, just a table lamp. So,
okay.
and then if you could put it there, that'd be great. So thanks, Jen. You're awesome. Hey, thanks for sticking around, people. We're still going here. I'm going to get the next question. I am now sitting somewhere where I can't get wet if it keeps raining. You can sit and you can see the front of my van now. Clive, here's Clive's question. Clive says, hi Bob, long time no see. Summer is coming. How is the weather and farm? Do you need to go to school for something? So in the summer, teachers in Canada in the summer do not work. So I am home for the summer right now. So that's what lets me be a farmer as well as a teacher. So people have asked in the past, how can you do two jobs at once? Aren't you too busy? And it's like, not really, because the farm is busy in the summer when I'm not teaching, and teaching is busy in the fall, winter, and spring when I'm not farming. So Christino says, is there a little bit of rain? Yes, there is definitely a little bit of rain. Okay, so Yoharet says, Andino says, what's the difference between since and from? So I have been living here since 2002. I think that's when I moved here. So since 2002. So that's an amount of time. And from, I am from Ontario, Canada. So I don't know if that's a great explanation, but that would be two example sentences. So since is used to describe a certain amount of time. Like I have been a teacher since 1996. I have been teaching for 23 years, I think. That's a long time. And then I have been teaching. Oh, that's the question. So I have been a teacher since 1996. I have been teaching for 23 years. That's there's two sentences that should help you a little bit with that. Let's see here. Next question. Todd, if you want to post the link in chat so that I get a few more questions, that would be great. Luis says, hi Bob, welcome from Brazil. When I'm watching your live stream lesson, I feel like I am in Canada. Yeah, you probably do a little bit. When you look behind me and you see the wind and the trees and a little bit of rain coming down, it's a little bit like you are in Canada. Daniela in the chat says, hi Bob, you are so nice and I really appreciate your tips. I like a lot the landscape that you show us. I'm Daniela from Mexico. Hi Daniela. So let's get the next question. I don't know the answer to this one, but Sergio says, I'm Brazilian. What are the best podcasts to learn English? So I'm not super familiar with podcasts. Many of you have asked me to do a podcast, and I have not done one yet, but I'm not familiar with it. But I would say if you're able to find a podcast where you can also get the transcript, so if you need to, you can read along or easily look up words, that's what I would recommend. So here we go. There are a few people asking me questions in the chat, and just a reminder that I can't answer questions from the chat. They go by too quickly. So please use the form if you can to answer those questions. Sarah says, hi Bob, I love your videos. Can you please do us a video explaining how to use the verb do or does as an auxiliary verb. I can hardly speak English myself right now. So I will do that. Yes, for sure. I will add that to the list. Luis Guillermo says, have you ever been to Quebec? I heard that the government wants everyone to speak French. How is that going? So Canada is bilingual. I actually lived in Quebec a long time ago. And I lived there for almost 9-10 months. So instead of going to school one year, I went and I lived in Quebec. And people in Quebec do definitely... Oh, thanks. Yeah, just turn it a bit. Yeah, that's good. People in Quebec do definitely speak French. People do speak English as well, especially in big cities like Montreal. But that is, let me see here. That is the province of Quebec. The government there does like it if people speak French. So if you're from a French-speaking country and you want to immigrate to Canada, you have a better chance because you're able to come to Canada because you speak French. They do love it in Quebec when people immigrate who already speak French. Let's see here. Oh, there's a grammar question. Sorry guys, I don't answer grammar questions during live streams. It's too difficult. When I don't have a whiteboard, it's too difficult to explain grammar. So sorry about that. But I do have the next question. Danielle Morea says, Hi Bob, do you speak French? In which language do you like most? Hugs from Brazil. Oui, je parle français, mais j'aime anglais. Je pense que j'aime anglais plus que le français. I think I like English better than French because I don't have to think about it. You can see Jen the Canadian walking by. See her out there? She's going to look at her flowers probably. So I do speak French. I practice it all the time and I'm getting better and better at it. But English is my native language and French is the language that I learned. So I think French, though, is more beautiful than English. Do you think that? Luis has a question here. Luis says, Hi Bob, have you tried Mexican food? Is it difficult to find Mexican food in Canada? No, it's not difficult at all. Almost every major city has Mexican restaurants and it's a very popular kind of food to eat. So in Canada, we have restaurants that serve Mexican food. I think I got mud on my cup. Must have fallen somewhere. We have Mexican food, we have Indian food, we have Chinese food, we have Vietnamese food, we have all different kinds of restaurants. So it's very, very cool. Can you guys hear the rain now? Just coming down behind me. It wasn't supposed to rain today, but apparently it is. So Vulcan has a question here, and the question is, which products do you grow on your farm? So mostly we grow flowers, but we also grow soybeans, hay, wheat, and corn, but in rotation. So each year we grow something slightly different. So this year we're growing soybeans, and I will sometime take you guys out to see the soybean field. Let's see here. Renata says, will you leave your channel free or will you put the join option anytime soon? So some YouTubers have a join button, and if you click join, you can pay the person and then you get extra videos. So someday I will have the join button, but I don't need anyone to click join. If you want to thank me and give me a little bit of money every month, that's totally fine. But my videos will always be free. There will never be a paid option where if you pay, you will get more. But if you do want, to send me money, that's totally fine. Super chats are fine. If I get the join button someday and you want to give me a little bit of money every month, that's fine. If you have money, if you don't have enough money, don't send me money. Okay? I have a job. I have a nice life. I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. That's what I tell people. So if you see the join button someday, all it will say is only click this join button if you like me and have lots of money and want to give me some. Don't ever send me money otherwise. I don't want your money. This shirt, I think this shirt is 12 years old. I don't need money for new clothes. I don't need money. Todd, can you start posting that we're not taking any more questions in the chat because we're full up and we're almost done. So sorry about that, folks. We're going to go for about 15 more minutes. I'm going to try to get through some questions. Zag says hello. Let's see. Guillermo Guzman says, thank you for your answer. By the way, my favorite video is a fun way to learn 50 English phrasal verbs with examples. It's like seeing a Wes Anderson movie. That's one of my most popular videos, by the way. If you haven't seen it, if you're watching this on replay, I'll put a link up here for you. But You can search YouTube too for Bob the Canadian 50 phrasal verbs if you want to have a good laugh. Omar Montoya says, what is the best part of Canada? I think the best part of Canada is that we don't pay for healthcare. So I had heart surgery a year ago. It cost me $0. I love it that we have free healthcare. To me, that is the best part of Canada. Let's see here. Eunice says, what time is it for you right now? Because it's midnight in my country, and you seem to have, it seems to be afternoon where you are. Did I ask the question in a correct way? Thank you so much. So I did correct it while I read it there. It is 8:04 p.m. here. It is night here. So in Canada in the summer, it stays light out till 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. It's really, really cool. Let's see here. Nathan says, what is your favorite band? Mine is Hillsong. My favorite band is the Rolling Stones. One of my favorite bands. I have a few. I like some newer bands, please. Jacob Herda says, hello, please could you make a video about English tenses with real life examples? It makes problems for me to choose the right tense. Thanks, from the Czech Republic. So Czechoslovakia, very cool. I will do that. I will do a video soon where I do my daily routine, and I will do it in the present tense, then I will do it in the past tense, and then I will do it in the future. So look for that one. That will be a good one. Let's see here. What's the difference? Pronounce vermicelli. So hopefully I say this one right, because this isn't actually a common word. But when you buy pasta, there's different kinds of pasta, and you can buy one kind that's called vermicelli. So vermicelli. There you go, Sam. Hopefully that helped you out there. Now you can buy your vermicelli from the grocery store. Aram has a question here. Again, folks, sorry I didn't, I got behind in the questions pretty quickly. There's a lot of you here. There's 520 people watching. So hopefully the other people's questions are helping you as well. Aram says, would you say come to the party or go to the party? So if someone invites me to a party, I would go to the party. So I'm at my home, I would go to the party. But the person who is having the party might say, are you going to come to the party? I would like you to come to my party. So go to a party means you're not there and you go there. But the person having the party might be saying, you should come to my party. So go to a party and come to a party. I hope the hands help you understand just a little bit. Let's see here. Question is from Christopher. Hi, Bob. I just wanted to know what's the best way to learn phrasal verbs. Thank you, from Peru. Best way to learn phrasal verbs is you need to memorize them, and you need to see pictures or videos of people actually doing them. So when I pick up the cup or when I set down the cup, you need to almost hear people use the words while you see them doing it. If you search Google Images, there are all kinds of images, and it'll be like 10 phrasal verbs with the word speak, 10 phrasal verbs with the verb pass. So search Google Images for pictures, and then there'll be all little drawings. It's really cool. That's probably the best way to do it. Andre, we have a question here. Andre says, hi, Bob. Thank you very much for your channel. No problem. Oh, you guys can give me a thumbs up too if you want. And if you're new here, you can subscribe. All that fun stuff. But anyways, could you please recommend, this is from Andre, could you please recommend how to teach my little daughters 1 and 5 years old to speak English? So I usually recommend that you find the cartoon called Peppa Pig. So Peppa Pig is a really, really fun cartoon for little kids. And the content is really, really awesome. I think you will enjoy it. So find Peppa Pig and show them that. That would be great. Renata has a question here. Renata says, do you understand British and Scottish easily? Yes. So Australian English, American English, Irish English, Scottish English, British English. There's so many different accents, but generally when people speak slowly and don't use their local vocabulary. It's easy to understand. So every form of English has words that are unique to their accent. So when people from Ireland speak to people from Canada, they tend to use less of their local phrases and more common phrases. And I think we do it almost automatically. Omar has a question. Omar Montoya. Do you know there's a car racer named Montoya? He used to race in NASCAR, and I liked him. He was neat. Anyways, Omar says, "Hi, Bob. Do you prefer cats or dogs?" You know, I like them both for different reasons, but I think if I was old and living on my own, I would have a cat. I really think. I think I would have a cat. Adriana says, "You sound a bit like a Scottish person when you say out." Yes, probably our accents are a little bit similar there. And is it Canadian English? Yes. So when I say about or out or in a boat, it all sounds a little different than an American. So Trung is asking, hi Bob, what kind of flower is behind you? When will you receive a silver play button? So when we were sitting over there, we were sitting by peonies, and I don't know when I will get a silver play button. I thought it was funny though, because people asked, what will you do when you hit 100,000 subscribers? And I just said, I'm just going to make another video. I'm just going to smile and be proud of my accomplishment and thank everybody who got me there. And then I'm just going to make another video because, I don't know, it doesn't matter how many subs I have. I just really like making videos for you guys. So I'll just keep doing that. Dagmar says, when do I use the word become? So become is when, as you go through life, you become older. When you go to school to learn a certain profession, you become a doctor. I went to school to become a teacher. When I bought the farm, I became a farmer. Notice there's a little tense change there. But when you become is when it's like a change in your life, right? You've moved from one stage to another. So when you're a kid, eventually you become a teenager. And teenagers, eventually you become an adult. So that's how I would use those two. Let me clean up my questions here a bit. So there are 61 more questions, and I'm not going to get to all the questions. Sorry about that. I'm just going to go through and pick some out. I apologize again when you don't hear your question. Samson says, I hear people say dang it. What does it mean? So it is a lighter version of another swear word. So I'm going to use a swear word, and that's damn. It's not a word that I use. I don't swear. I don't use bad words. But dang is like a lighter form. So when people don't want to use really bad swear words, they use lighter versions of it. So when people say dang it, it's just a lighter form of saying the other swear word, which I said earlier, and I don't want to say. Did you know I don't swear? I don't like to swear. Let's see. Luis says, could you give us some words in English that Canadians use and Americans do not understand? There's very few, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but we say things like, we describe when life is rough, we say it's tough sledding. It's like if someone's like, yeah, you know, I got in a car accident, my car's smashed up and I can't afford a new one, we say, wow, man, that's tough sledding. So it's kind of a snow related thing, right? When you go sledding, it's when you go play in the snow. So tough sledding. Let's see here. Let's see, I'm just grabbing a couple more questions here. Let's see here. This is from Sean Yu. It says, again, thank you for your advice. I write tech articles and watching your videos, listening, and I read Medium for reading. So the website, themedium.com, is a great website. Lots of articles. Thank you again. I will give myself 1 year. Work hard. You can do it. Let's see here. This question comes up a lot, and sadly the answer is no. Oscar Sin Miguel says, Bob, have you ever considered starting a channel teaching French? God bless you. No, I'm going to leave the teaching of French to the native French speakers. I am a native English speaker, but French is a second language for me. So I speak English perfectly, But when I speak French, sometimes I still make mistakes. And I have an English accent when I speak French. Obviously, because I am a native English speaker, when I speak French, I'm going to have a little bit of an accent. So I think it's better, instead of me starting a channel to teach French, it's better for French native speakers to start those kind of YouTube channels. Sorry, I know a lot of you would really, really like that, but I don't have the time, and I think it's better if someone who speaks French does it. This is a statement. Oh, Mara Britt says, your umbrella is the same color as your shirt. Yeah, I was just happy because Jen, the Canadian, my wife, brought me an umbrella. The rain has stopped now, though, so that's good. But hey, folks, we're going to be wrapping this up. I think we have gone 1 hour, and I only have time to do 1 hour. I am very, very sorry. I will do 3 more questions from here, and then we are going to say goodbye. So Victor from Nicaragua says, what is the speed of a native speaker of English? So here's my plan for the future of the Saturday night live lesson is, I'm not sure about next week, but I want to have it where for half an hour I answer your questions, and then I want to get another native speaker to join me for half an hour, or maybe do a different thing each week. So you'll hear me having a conversation with an actual native speaker. So look for that maybe next week or the week after. I have talked to a couple of people, but I think it would be fun for you if 2 people were sometimes on the Saturday live stream. Let me do 2 more questions. This is from Renata, and the question is the word thence archaic? Could you put it in context? So we don't use the word thence anymore. We don't use a lot of those really old TH words, and I don't even know how to use it. And thence came Sir Galahad on his steed. I don't know. I haven't used thence, but a lot of really old English has that. Sam, you're going to be the last one. Sam says, hi, Bob. This is my first time watching your video. I have a question between incoming and onto coming. Thank you. So an incoming, when I receive an email, it's an incoming message. When the phone rings, it's an incoming call. And the opposite is actually outgoing. Okay? So I make an outgoing call. So if my phone rings, it's an incoming call. It's coming into my phone. It's an incoming call. But if I dial my phone, I'm making an outgoing call. Okay, so it's going out. So anyways, folks, that's the end of the live lesson. Thank you so much. I've talked for a whole hour. I can't believe it. The time went really fast. In English, when time flies, it's because you're having fun. So we have a little saying, time flies when you're having fun. So time flies when you're having fun. So what that means is that when you have an enjoyable conversation, when you do something where you are talking to people and having fun, time goes really, really quick. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Todd, for moderating the chat. I know you had a fun job in there today, so thank you very much for that. Thank you for all the questions. Again, I apologize that I can't answer them all. There's a lot of questions left, but I do appreciate it. Again, thank you for watching. If you come back tomorrow, there will be subtitles. If any part of this was confusing for you, watch it again tomorrow with the subtitles on. And even if you did understand this, it's always good to watch it twice. I'm not just doing that to get views. Todd is my helper. Todd is my friend who is helping me moderate the chat. So I don't know if Todd, you want to just say hi in the chat. But Todd, the Canadian, has been willing to help me out. So it's kind of nice because with this many people in the chat, it's nice to have someone help. So anyways, thank you. I'm clapping. Thank you very much. This is the end of the live stream. Watch it again tomorrow with subtitles on. Thank you very much. Thank you, Todd. There, that's nice. People said thank you, Todd. That's awesome. Anyways, I'm going to push the little red button here, and this is